Welcome to another version of our industry spotlight with the Orlicki Group and myself, Allison Rixner, and my dear friend, Kelly Burchill from Compass. Thank you, Kelly, for coming on our industry spotlight.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for taking your time out of a busy schedule. We're recording this in early November. There's been lots going on, and I really appreciate you taking some time to talk with us today.
Yes, lots going on in Florida.
Lots going on. We'll talk about it. We're going to highlight it. So I wanted to come on today. You and I are somebody that immediately connected through the industry, and we've become friends. And we've had a lot of offline conversations about what's gone on in both the real estate side, which is the side that you play in, and the mortgage side, which is the side I'm in, as far as sort of the industry being a bit put in a bad light and people looking at us and saying, oh, I don't know why they have a job, or I don't know why I'm paying somebody to do this. And I want to take the time today to dispel that myth and talk about why it is incredibly important to have the right team and the right professional on your side when you're buying a home.
I can't echo that enough. So let's do it.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think the advent of reality TV, we could start there, has shed an interesting light on your industry specifically, on the real estate side. And it became glamorized. And why don't we start with you telling me just how glam your job is?
Right.
Let's start there.
Well, let's see. Today's the first time I've had lipstick on in forever. So
right. This is not what we normally look like.
Right. Yeah, definitely not glamorous by any stretch, right? And in fact, I personally in my business, it's quite the opposite as far as like what you see on TV, because for me, it's always clients are first, right? So if somebody calls and they need to see something immediately, you're going to get Kelly Burchill in her workout leggings ready from 6 a.m. because the most important thing is getting that person in the house. So I don't even know what you're talking about when
you're not going into glam and hair. I mean, folks, this is not what happens in the real life. And I want people to understand that what they hear on the news and what they see on TV is not indicative of what goes on, right? I mean, this is...
I don't think people care about that either. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
But I know that when you say that, it's not only about the appearance of stuff, right?
Exactly. And you've been a realtor for many years. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your, path and story? You're now with Compass and you're in the Tampa Bay area, which is our number one market that we serve for the mortgage side. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, how you came to do this?
Okay. So I was one in high school that I figured out I wanted to be in TV news, and there was no changing my mind. That's exactly what I did. From, like I said, high school all the way through college, I knew what I wanted to do, right? And did it. I was in the TV news business for 10 years or so until I became a mom. And then obviously perspective changes, and the things that used to excite you and you found interesting are no longer right. Like I don't care.
It's a big change.
The 7-car pile up and find that interesting, right? Like that's not good. So big life change. I got out of the TV news business, and it wasn't even on purpose, really. It's like it was. Well, it was 2015, and they had done away with my position at the news station. And so they were kind of trying to figure out where they were going to put me, right? And I was just done. And fast forward, my dad is like, why don't you get your real estate license? And I was like, what? Never thought about it. Never crossed my mind.
Thanks, Dad.
Certainly didn't have good thoughts or, I knew nothing about real estate. But yeah, so I did it. And let me tell you something, Allison, kick myself every day for not doing it sooner.
Right.
But, you don't know what you don't know. Right.
And that was your path, but it clicked for you.
Yeah.
It clicked for you. And it was a calling for you.
It was.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we could go deeper into it, but that's for another podcast. But I'm not the personality to have a structured job, to have a man sitting in an office somewhere telling me what to do. Like, that's just not me. And I didn't know that until I got out of it. Right.
Right.
Like, I was always trying to fight to fit into that because that's what you're told you do. Right. And, yeah. So here we are.
I share that with you. I had the same.
I know. I feel it.
Because we've we've definitely connected on a lot of levels, and there is something very special about being an entrepreneur, and something that I think both people in our industry and folks that are engaging in buying homes and selling homes and refinancing, that they don't understand is that we are our own business.
Right.
There's no one back there paying your bills. There's no one back there paying my bills. And the number one thing that I want people to get out of this is that Kelly's been in this since 2015. I've been doing this since 2020. My husband started in 2001. We are people that have dedicated our careers and have sacrificed a lot in order to learn and do this full time and run an actual company to help serve people in the home buying and selling experience.
Right. Right. Which I feel like, who knows the number, but I feel like that might be 20% of us that are actually in the business. Right.
I'm going 5, but I love how optimistic you are this morning.
I mean, but yeah. And I think that's where the disconnect is, right? Is that there are so many people in my position and in yours that do it part-time, do it for fun, do it because they're bored at their other job or whatever. And they cannot be compared to those of us that have really made this a career.
Right. And, we're not saying that's bad. And there's a world where that might make sense for somebody, right? But at the end of the day, and I use this analogy a lot with my clients, because we have some people that come to us and say, well, I'm not going to work with a realtor. That's my favorite conversation to have, because I will make damn sure that at the end of that conversation, they understand what a risk that is. Because you wouldn't go get a surgery without checking out your surgeon.
Right.
Would you?
Right.
And that's your health. This is your financial health. This is your home and health.
Yep.
Right. Our basic needs. That's what you and I provide.
Right.
And we take a lot of pride in serving people to do that. So I guess one of the questions I have for you is, as a professional, as somebody that takes this very seriously, as someone who's amazing at it, how do you think, especially given the last few years, how do you think it is that you can stand apart from some of these other people that, aren't doing it full time and haven't really taken it on as a profession? Because you are a professional.
Right. I think that just being myself in every sense of the word has been what makes me stand out. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because, God, there's how many thousands and thousands of realtors, and people just want someone that they can connect with, that feels like a real person, that knows what they're doing, has the experience. And I think that just so many people don't put their real selves out there. It's like this image that they want.
Right. It's not authentic.
Yeah. And I think that makes a huge difference. That's what I've always told myself anyway. Like, I can't try to be the next so-and-so, or I don't want to be this person. Like, I'm very big on putting blinders on and focusing on my stuff, my clients, and not worrying about what other people are doing, because I think that's when it starts getting crazy.
I totally agree. And I think something that you bring that I enjoy so much about you, that I think is different even from a lot of the professionals that we're talking about, the smaller set, the people you should be working with when doing this, is how you are here to serve and emotionally connect with people. This is the most emotional purchase that anyone can ever make. Think about all the things that you buy.
Right.
Your home and where you reside, whether you're selling it, which is sometimes even more emotional than when you're buying a home. How do you manage that for people? What do you bring? Because that's huge in my opinion.
I think, gosh, I don't know if there's a thing that I bring.
Right.
Right? I think that it's just going back to being genuine, right? And just priorities. Like I am not doing that. Like, of course, this is my job. This is how I pay my bills. I'm, of course I need to make money selling houses, but that's not all it is for me. Like
Right.
I really, and I'm emotional today, so I could actually get teary. I
Aw.
really, especially like given the hurricane that just came through.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
I think of myself first as a mom, and I put myself in their shoes as this is I'm a mom, I'm a family. Do I sell? Do I, you know what I mean? Like I don't look at somebody as
Right.
a client or a paycheck or whatever. Like I know nobody would admit to doing that anyway, but like I really just
You really don't.
I really don't.
You can. It's not who you are. Yeah.
And people like will, I think it's funny, people meet me for the first time and I'll say things and they're kind of just look at me like, is she for real? And I'm like,
Did
no.
she just say that? Yeah, it happens to me
Yeah,
too.
like I really did. Don't tell anybody I said that because I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to. But yeah, I think it's just putting yourself in the client's shoes, and
Right.
whether it's helping a mom move from Seattle who has never set foot in Virginia Park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really thinking about what the client will need more so than they even do. They don't know,
Right.
right? If I'm your eyes on the ground here in Tampa and you've never lived here, you've been here once, like, do you know to look for the car line that's gonna, you know what I mean?
Right.
Do you know that this street is busier? Like, so I really take
Right.
that seriously, that responsibility of like, would I want to live here? Would I do it this way? And I think that kind of hopefully comes across to the clients.
I love that. And these conversations always go where they're supposed to go. The lifestyle is what you bring because the home is part of it, right? But for people that are even moving from another community within your market, or someone to your point that's moving from across the country that has no idea, how you live your life where you reside is a huge part of who we are as people. And that is something that you bring. You are a native to where you're from. You understand all the ins and outs of your market. You know every minefield. You know what to do. You know what not to do. You understand how to advise. I mean, when I think a lot about what it is that we both do, advisor keeps coming. That's a word that resonates really strongly with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I just lost my train of thought. We were talking about,
That's fine. We're happy to edit all these things
I
out.
knew I was going to say something about, dang it.
From before?
Well, the
Oh, yeah.
minefields and stuff like that. Like that's how I guess going back to what I just said, like imagine moving to a new place
Right.
and not knowing anything.
Right.
Especially if it's not just you or you have a family or, like there's so much that goes into relocating that like I cannot imagine doing it without somebody who is, I shouldn't say born and raised here, but I
Yeah.
really 1,000% believe that that's a huge advantage to working
Absolutely.
with me
Yep.
is, like whether somebody's been here 3 years or 10 years, that's great. But if you can say that you have been here, you've seen the school districts change or not, you've known they've been talking about that intersection for literally 25 years and it's never
Right.
happened. You know what I mean? Like that's something that I don't know. I can't stress enough to clients how important that is. And it's almost one of those things that you don't know, right?
Right. And
So
I love that you said that because people think, oh, this person, I love when people say, oh, well, realtors are just door openers. Oh, please. That is just a bucket of bullshit. Okay. We're going to call that what that is. There is so much more that goes into what it is that you have to do and then what we have to do to get someone to the closing table, whether they're selling their home, buying their home, whatever it is that they're doing. This is complicated stuff. There's laws, there's regulations, there's contracts, there are, bank statements on our side, there are financial minefields that we have to walk through. And having the right team on your side can make or break the decisions that you have available to you when it comes to what you're looking to do with your home.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah. And, with all of the negative press that has happened, especially in your industry. I mean, the mortgage industry's taken their hits over the years. I think about 2008 and Dodd-Frank, and there's just been a lot, right? But you guys are going through a very transformative time. And I think it's being called into question, whether somebody should even be using a realtor, right, whether that's to list their home or to buy their home. And if somebody came to you today and said, Kelly, I don't really know why I would be paying someone to, let's talk on the listing side, why, I can just go for sale by owner. What would you say to them?
I mean, I really compare it to, like, of course you can do that. Of course you can do that yourself.
Right. That's an option.
Sure. Of course.
Sure.
Just like, I compare it to like medical stuff, right? Like, okay, like I have a big cut on my hand, right? Like, I mean, I can probably Google search, I can watch a YouTube video, like I can stitch it back to.
Oh my God.
Like,
please don't.
If you're totally like that, or do you really just want to go get stitches, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, you absolutely don't have to use a realtor. And in fact, with AI and everything else that we have available to us these days, you don't have to do shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can do everything yourself, really.
Right.
But it's a matter of how comfortable you are doing that, knowing the process. Do you want to spend your time doing that, right? Like, how much is your time worth? Time is like one of the greatest currencies, right?
Right.
And do you want to spend your time opening doors?
Right.
Do you want to spend your time marketing and all the stuff? Like, of course you can do it yourself. And half the time, Allison, if they come to me and they have it on their mind that they want to do it themselves, go do it. Go do it.
I bet they come back
in 6 weeks, because I don't need to convince you. Go figure it out yourself.
And I love that.
When you're ready, I'll be here to help you.
Right. When you've realized, and I think I love that you said that currency of time, because time is one part of it, but the other thing is you don't know what you don't know. And Kelly and I aren't going to come and tell whoever's listening to this how to do your job. We're not going to do that. So how can you come and step into what is a very complicated process? It is not easy to do. There's a lot of pieces, like people don't understand inspection. They don't understand appraisal. They don't understand contracts. And by the way, real estate attorneys are not realtors.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say that.
Right.
So, I think if people take anything out of this, it is let us help you. And, we're not the whole thing of, oh, realtors are making so much money and this and that. It's like, it seems like year after year, especially over the last 5 years, like compensation has gone down in the mortgage side. It's been harder to compete because rates are so high. And I think when on the real estate side, like this 3% commission, which has been very, very standard, is what realtors need to be paid to do what they do. You take on a lot of costs that client doesn't pay for.
Right.
And nobody talks about that either. Right. And we have teams to pay and we have mouths to feed. Right.
Buyers.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's what it is to run a business. Right. We're not sitting here on a lily pad, opening doors and just, handing over people hundreds of thousands of dollars of checks, and it's super chill. And this shit is hard. This is not easy.
I have so much to say about that.
Yeah. Well,
First thing is, unfortunately, Allison, there are a lot of people that open a door and get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that is what it is. Again, I can't worry about what other people are doing. Right.
And that's coming to an end because people are waking up to that. They know the service they're getting. And if they're not getting what they're paying for.
And then secondly, on this whole topic, like I can't even hear it talked about without getting frustrated. Like, it is so disrespectful. And like, do I go to your job and question how much money you make? I mean, you have bills to pay, right? Like,
amen.
It's insane to me that people, like, would you go to your doctor and say, yeah, you're a little high, I'm going to need a discount?
Yep.
Mind blowing, right?
Yep. You'd be kicked out. They'd be like, bye.
Right.
And I think that this goes into a lot of what people have seen on social media, right? The thread of exactly what we're talking about, this kind of like
We're not
fast pace. Yeah, like this, oh, I'm making, $300,000 a deal. Like maybe that happens in, one out of every 8 million transactions. But what happens here in our market for first time home buyers, for people that are looking to upgrade? Like I always think about the D's, right? Divorce, death, diapers. Like these are the reasons that people move. And we are using our skills and we are using our hearts and our lot, like we're giving our lives to help people actually figure out these next steps in their life and make it easier. There is nothing like a transaction where you're working with people that you know are professional. Listen, home buyers, home sellers, that is the ultimate pinnacle. Because when everybody knows what they're doing and everybody's educated and everybody's there for the common good of serving that person the best way we can, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That happens 1 out of every 10 times, in my opinion.
Right.
And it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think that with everything that's happened and the NAR settlement and God, the hurricanes in Tampa, we've really taken punches this year. It has not been an easy year. I do think that it's shaking out people that are not committed to this business.
From day one, when people started talking about the NAR thing, maybe it's just my crazy personality, but I have been thrilled about it, right? Because I have no problem getting the commission that I deserve. I worked for it, right? I have no problem. If you don't want to work with me because of my fee, thank you. See you next time. I mean,
Right.
Number two, weed out all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the people that are giving us bad reputations or no service or
Taking advantage of people or the people that are, yeah.
From day one, I've been like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like any other industry, we're going through unprecedented change in this world. Why should this industry be any different? Banking, healthcare, government, you name it, housing, right? It's impacting everything. And here we are working through it, making the changes, adjusting, adapting, all for the greater good of making sure that we can help someone. Right. That's why we do what we do.
Yep. Yep.
And I think for the people out there that are listening to this, use your gut. When you meet somebody, you can know if they're the real deal. And there's shady people in every business that are going to take advantage of you.
Can I add to that?
Please.
One thing that I think is incredible that I don't know if people use enough is social media when it comes to vetting professionals, right?
Absolutely.
And the reason I say that is because, I would say, God, probably at least 6 years ago, I realized that what we're doing here, social media, that's my listing presentation.
Amen.
Right?
Yep.
Because people, it's always a goal of mine, as you see, whether I'm devastated from a hurricane on camera crying and I haven't showered in 7 days, or, people see who I am and they call me because of that. Right. So
Absolutely.
When I go to meet them, they're not surprised. I'm going to say fuck. I got bad words coming out of my mouth. It is what it is. And if you don't like that, you really just keep scrolling and find the next realtor. But I think, and I don't mean to say that callously, but I'm just saying you need to choose who you want to work with.
Who you vibe with.
Right? And what you see on social media, if you as a professional are putting out there who you really are, what you really do, what you're really like, that's your first introduction to these clients. And if they call you based on that, nobody's going to call you because they don't like your social, right?
They're going to say that.
Right. If they're calling you based on your social, it's almost like a win-win, right? You can go into that. It's almost like you don't even need a presentation at that point because they have watched you, whether it's, and you don't know how long somebody's been watching you. Have they been watching you for 6 years or did they find you 6 days ago? Right. But no matter what, as long as you're putting out there who you are, what you bring to the table, when they call you, it's like a done deal. They're ready
I
for certain.
love that you brought that up because people might be saying like, well, how do I know? Right. Obviously, when you meet someone, that's the best way, whether it's a phone call or whether it's in person, right? You can get a vibe of somebody. But as business owners, if you are working with a real estate professional or a mortgage professional that does not have an online presence, you should question why that is. This is 2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only question why it is because maybe is the personality not there or
Right.
whatever.
Or they just don't want to do it. They don't want to put the time into it.
Right. So we're lazy.
Yep.
Because this is the world that we live in. So that would show that you were lazy. And what are, it is what it is. That's not nice to say, but if you're
absolutely
not media, which is like the number one free tool for realtors, what else are they not going to do?
Exactly. You know? And the days are gone when you would walk down the street of your town and pop into your real estate office. Yeah. Like that exists, right? I mean, you have an office, I have an office. We don't really go that much, but like, you know, this is our office on the go. Like that's another thing that's beautiful. We can work from anywhere. But as you're vetting these people, think about what you're seeing online. And you and I have talked extensively about reviews and, you know, just making sure that people understand that you know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
You know, people are smart. Right? They can figure it out. It doesn't take a lot of diving to figure out what's going on. Because I have realtors that say to me all the time, you know what, I'm just not going to do it because I sell so much real estate, I don't have to. Well, guess what? Nobody has access to your MLS.
Right.
That's not public record.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, could somebody figure it out? Sure. But people aren't going to do that. Like, come on.
Right. But to each their own. Right?
Yeah.
Because we have people here in South Tampa who have been selling real estate for 50 years and who will always, always be the go-to. One of my mentors, Mary Kelly, love her to death. She will always be the go-to in Culver Tiles, where if somebody's going to sell, they call Mary Kelly. And great. If you have that, amazing. Right? So, but how long is that going to last? You know,
not much longer.
And yeah, you just gotta, everybody has to find their own way, right?
Yep.
And if you're lucky enough to have that 50 years of experience behind you, keep doing your thing. That's great, right? But like, if we're talking about somebody who is not like the top 1% or whatever, like this is the reality.
Right. And and Mary Kelly did what she had to do, benches and nailers and knockers and all of the things that, you know, it was just we are living in a very different world now. And again, with the industry changes, we have to adapt. And as people are thinking about, again, choosing their professional to walk this very emotional and very exciting path with, do your research.
Right.
And clients are doing their research now. They are not messing around, you know.
And they need to feel, instead of asking what your fee is, or, you know, ask what they do for you, right? Because once you know the list of things that these people will actually do for you, then you can decide if it's worth paying them or not. You know, we're not hiding anything. It's just that sometimes people don't ask the right questions, and we don't want to insult people and think that they need a step-by-step guide of a real estate transaction, right? So, you know, you're bold enough to ask for a price reduction. How about first, let's ask for what exactly it is that you do.
Right. And this is a value-based business, right? There are checks in the boxes and things that we do, but what Kelly does, what we do, it provides an incredible amount of value. And I want to thank you for being you. I want to thank you for bringing a much needed energy to this business. I've so much enjoyed working with you. We're just getting started in our partnership. And anyone that's looking for an amazing realtor in the Tampa Bay area, Kelly's niche is South Tampa, but she knows the whole area very well. Do not hesitate to reach out. We'll link, you know, all of our contact information below. And, you know, Kelly, do you have any parting thoughts today? I mean, I really appreciate this conversation. I think it's really important that we talk about this.
I think just, you know, the social, really do your research on social, follow 10 different realtors in the area that you're looking to move to. And just, you know, even if it's not anytime soon, just do it and kind of hang out, and you'll see, you'll get a feeling and you'll know. Right.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll have you on again. And, you know, keep doing what you're doing because it's much needed.
Y'all too.
Thanks, Kelly.